What's going on, guys? It's your boy Manny here with Yellow Tape DFS, here to give you my take on Week 4 of the NFL. We do have a lot of interesting news going on, for example, with like that Tennessee game being postponed, as well as the New England and Kansas City game being postponed. So those two games aren't even going to be in the slate. That's 4 teams down. It kind of narrows your list down a little bit more. So I will be going over these players. But before I do that, if you guys please do me a favor, smash that like button, follow, subscribe, do whatever you can to help out, make a comment. I greatly appreciate everything, and hopefully I can help you guys make some of this money. All right, so starting off at the quarterback position, I'm going to go into these guys. They're not in any particular order per se, but Drew Brees is at such a low price point. Rightfully so. We thought we were going to have Michael Thomas back, but we're not. So his price point being that low kind of makes a little bit of sense, but I still think he's a little too cheap, so don't pass up on him for tournament options. Same thing goes for Fitzpatrick. Seattle's been getting thrown on the entire beginning of the season. They're almost the last place for air yards. And then on the flip side of that, Miami's just terrible all the way around. So Russell Wilson can have a great game. Lamar Jackson, obviously, the highest guy on the slate. And then we can go down to Kyler Murray. All right, the guy has legs on him. He's going to run. He's going to pass. He's going to do everything that he can. I think Deshaun Watson's in a decent spot. We know his front line isn't that great, but we know Minnesota's defense isn't that great either. So expect him to have a decent game. He's probably going to be the most highest owned quarterback this week. Josh Allen against the Raiders. I think he's in a great spot as well. And then a dart throw, not for fanship, just for a dart throw, is Daniel Jones. And the only reason why I say this is because I think people are going to shy away from Giants players in general. Well, rightfully so, once again. But when you're playing things, trying to have like potential for the millionaire maker, you never know, right? Maybe not Daniel Jones for that, but maybe somebody like Golden Tate. But we'll get to that later. Now going on to running backs, in Chicago, Montgomery. I think he's a great option. Cohen's going to be out. Then you got Robinson over in Jacksonville. All right, he's in a great spot going against the Bengals. And on the flip side of that script, you have Mixon. Now, Mixon has a questionable tag on him right now, so look out for that, because if not, then 4,600, I believe, Giovanni Bernard. How do you pass that up? He's the catching back on top of going to have all the touches. You just can't simply pass that. Now, the probably lock of the slate, the easiest chalk, you can't fade it. Alvin Kamara, rightfully so. No Michael Thomas, no Jared Cook. This guy's getting all the touches, all the looks. Cash safe, GPP safe. This guy is he's a bomb play. All right. Zeke, he gets a ton of targets, a ton of touches. He's going to be fine. He's going against Cleveland. I don't see an issue there unless they decide to take it through the air the whole way. Carson, if he plays, or whichever running back is going to play for Seattle, I feel like that's a huge spot. If you want to be contrarian, you can go there, or with Eckler, on a contrarian spectrum. Kenyon Drake, great spot. And on the opposite side of the field, Davis for low ownership, but he had a monster target share on top of his carries last week. So if he gets anything remotely close to that, I'm going to go as far as saying that guy is safe for cash at this point. All right, Dalvin Cook, probably one of the most underrated running backs at the moment. That guy's he's in a great spot too. Henderson Jr. against the Giants, love him. All right, Singletary, if the other back is out, I love him again as well. And then dart throw with the Giants player Freeman. Moving on to wide receivers, Allen Robinson. We have Nick Foles throwing him the ball. He did well in the second half of that last game. I don't see why. I know the matchup is tough, but it's Foles, guys. It's not Trubisky anymore. T. Higgins, 2 touchdowns last game, couple of targets. He found himself in the red zone. Everybody's going to keep their eye on A.J. Green. A lot of people are tooting up Tyler Boyd, so it kind of leaves him to be a little more open than the rest. Based off of coverage, we're going to the next guy, Jarvis Landry. Now, based off of coverage, he's in a smash spot. A lot of people are tooting Odell Beckham and Austin Hooper. A couple mentions of Landry, but I really like Landry this week. Going into that New Orleans game again on the Detroit side, Marvin Jones Jr. I feel like he hasn't had that breakout game that we saw quite a few games of him have last year. He's in a great spot, and along with another guy in another position that we'll get to later. And on the flip side of that game, Traquan Smith. I think he's in a great spot too. You know, Emmanuel Sanders doesn't seem to be getting the target share that he deserves, and maybe it's for a reason. And then going to that Seattle game, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, Ford, all of those guys are in play. All right. Another one of my favorite receivers for the week, Keenan Allen. He had 19 targets last week, going against Tampa, who likes to funnel everything into the middle of the field, whether it be a catching back or a slot receiver. Expect Keenan Allen to get a huge workload again. Mike Evans. Everybody else is banged up. He's got to be the go-to guy, outside of one other player that we'll mention once again later. DeAndre Hopkins, if he plays, I mean, I can't fade him completely, but very small percentage of ownership due to his high price tag. All right, then Isabella, provided that the receivers are out, because both of them are questionable. I think, Isabella already had a great game. I think it's due for another one. It's not that hard. Robbie Anderson. Everybody's tooting up DJ Moore because of that low price point. I think Anderson is that guy. Then you go for Houston. You have Fuller and Cooks. I like both of them. And then on the other side, Minnesota, Thielen. Then Cooper Kupp, Golden Tate. I like these guys. Moving on to tight ends. We have Schultz over in Dallas. I think he's in a great spot there. Then for the Lions, when I said mentioning the other guy, we have Hawkinson. Smash spot for him. If he can get some targets here, this guy, if he gets a red zone look or two, he is going to score. This guy is a very big man in that position and is great. Then we have Gronk. Now, when he cried last week before the game about not having any target shares, he ended up getting like 9 targets. I can see him getting something close to that, and at that price tag of $3,500, I don't mind throwing the dart. Thomas in play again. Another dart throw with Evan Ingram. The Giants have to score somehow, according to Vegas. All right, and then my favorite tight end of the week, Waller. This guy's a monster. All right, and I did forget to mention back on the receiver core. Let me go back. Hunter Renfrow in a great spot also, and I do like CeeDee Lamb as well as Amari Cooper. All right, then moving along to defense. My defense are pretty clear-cut and dry. I like the Ravens, the Bears, and the Colts. Possibly, I'm not too high on them, but they also have some potential to do something. If you want to punt on defense, maybe the Panthers, or even lower, maybe even go the Browns, just based off of performance-wise. All right, the last honorable mention that I forgot to go on was wide receiver for Buffalo, John Brown. I think everybody's tooting Diggs. John Brown's actually in a better spot than Diggs, even though Diggs is the better receiver. But I think Brown would be able to take advantage of that matchup much more than anyone. So hopefully this is going to be able to get you guys some money this week. I have a lot of big tournaments that go in this week. I entered a $300 single entry, $250 cash double up, maxed out the $3 competition. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll post results on the next week's video, see how we did, and see what we can improve on from there. But until then, see you next week, guys.